So you've worked with a lot of big names in the industry. So you've worked with One Direction, V.V. Brown, Marina the Diamonds. You've worked with Katy Perry, Tyler Cruz, and Dubs. Like the list goes on and on. So just talk to us a little bit about that process and how did you get to the point where you're working with big names in the industry?
Well, went to uni.
Of course.
University to study music. I really wanted my degree. I thought it's going to help me meet other musicians as well. So and then after that I became a piano teacher for a while. I just wanted to get out there and work really. I'd done a bit of touring theatre. I'd done a few bits and pieces in London, but I was mostly teaching at the time, which was great fun. One-to-one tuition. But then I took a cruise. I MD'd a cruise, like a show band, which was like a baptism by fire because at my age, MDing an orchestra was really difficult. So a lot of challenges there. And then I came back and went back to a bit of teaching. And I really wanted to get into the pop game, but I didn't have the network. I didn't have the big enough network at the time. In the end, I had to sell a couple of keyboards, which obviously made me feel a bit sad. But had quite a few of them. I was a bit of a collector at the time. So I wanted to let one of these keyboards go. And I had a couple of calls. And then this guy called Tim, who was a musician in London, he was really adamant that he was going to buy one. And he kept pestering me, and I sort of gave in the end, and he came and bought it off me. He actually went on to be Jax Jones, the songwriter and DJ. But at the time, he knew a small band that were just starting out from the roots of Camden Town, called N-Dubs, small little pop act at the time, And they said they've got a live lounge coming up. And bear in mind, the time that he picked the keyboard up to the time that actually called me was about probably a quarter of a year. So it was a long time. He was like, "Oh, do you want to get involved in it?" We need a string arranger. So I was like, "Well, I've done university music. I can arrange strings." So I did, and then a couple of months by nothing, and then picked up Tinchy Strider, and then we did some stuff with Tayo, and then that time that kind of UK R&B thing was big. So. And then it just kept on rolling, and I picked up Marina to covering for Ollie, and going on tour with Katy Perry, and then then One Direction, and it just moved, and that's how it was, and that's how it's ended up really.
So what advice would you give to young people trying to break into the music industry, because it's a very competitive industry, very saturated, and it's always forever changing? So any words of advice?
I don't think there's no prescribed formula for anybody. It's a mixture really of a lot of hard work, a lot of faith, and rolling the dice and being in the right place. And I think it's important that you've got to have the skills to be in that position. If the dice rolls and it lands on you, that you've got the skills to do it. So I think really, if I'm going to give advice to young people, I would say learn your skill. Learn your instrument, then learn your software, learn your technology, learn how to be with people as well, because the gigs and the jobs in the industry they don't come from an email, they come from being around people, So, being sociable, being amicable, being likeable, and being there and being present in music, no matter where it is, gigs, clubs. And I think that's probably the best bit of advice I can give. Everybody has a different journey, but I think if you really want to make it work, you've kind of got to be spinning all the plates at the same time.
You're working with us at Echo Factory as one of the tutors here. So what excites you about working here with us?
Well, when I was first approached about Echo Factory, the new organisation that it was, and I looked at the brochure and the website, and it was instantly a university that struck me as being new and fresh and dynamic and engaging, and it's really sort of symbolising what the modern music industry is like. It's you've got to be not just a performer and a player, but you've got to have a business, and you've got to be able to brand yourself. And I think what Echo Factory is doing, which I really kind of really struck a chord with me, was that it's bringing the next generation of musicians to have their own brand and have their own identity, but also and being able to make and develop their sense of what they want to achieve in the music business. So yeah, I really liked the idea that I really loved the idea of what they had to offer, and I really wanted to get on board really quickly. You know, for me, doing what I've done at the level what I've done, I'd love to share that experience and that knowledge with, you know, the younger generations.
So a lot of people have, like, a lot of people that go on tour have mixed views about touring. Some love it, some hate it, you know. Some love the buzz and other people just hate the different time zones and you can't sleep and whatnot. You were saying that you've been touring previously for 8 years continuously, so what would you say was the best and worst parts about touring, and how have you coped with the hectic schedule?
I think some people don't have I think to me it's just not in their blood or their nature, you know. I've always been like my dad, and my dad, he wasn't a musician, but he's an insatiable amount of energy that, and, you know, I have an insatiable amount of energy that I could go around the clock, and that's what got me a lot of work in the first place, because I would work 48 hours straight, or I would work round the clock to get a tour ready, and that I thrived off, you know. But it does burn you out, and I after 5 years of touring one day, I hit burnout. So it was important to look after yourself when you're touring that much, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, I loved it. I loved going to different countries, and I loved seeing new places. I mean, I've lived that suitcase, like I said, for about 8 years, which again is testing, but it's absolutely incredible. Like, someone said to me the other day, like, you've seen and done things that some people never do in their life. I went on a 2-year journey with Marina in 2010. Before that, I did Phoebe, and then 2011 came around, and One Direction. Obviously, the last half a decade has been around the world with those guys, you know, which is weird because, like, I haven't not toured for, you know, the best part of 8 years. It's not far off a decade. Yeah. And it's an amazing lifestyle, you know, and I do miss it sometimes. But, you know, you can't tour forever, so it's you know, and I think that goes back to our question we were saying before. You know, it's ever changing. You're not, as a musician, going to be on the road all the time. You're not going to be playing stadiums all the time. You're not going to be, you know, doing the same thing. You've got to constantly be going, okay, where next? What can I do? What can I think? And I think that's a really strong point. If you're playing music, you need to have your fingers in lots of pies.
What advice would you give to young people trying to break into the music industry, because it's a very saturated industry, very competitive? So what would you say, what would be the do's and don'ts of trying to break into the music business?
Music can be made by anyone almost now in your bedroom. The advancement in software is so rapid that people are making, you know, and I think that's great, because I don't think it should be elitist. I don't think you should only be allowed to make music in a multi-million-pound studio. I think you should be able to do it from the roots in your bedroom or in a garage. I think that's fantastic, because it gives a lot of people an outlet. But there's one positive, there's always one negative to cancel that, to balance that out. Is that makes the market, as we talked about, as you mentioned before, Samara, it makes it saturate, and you've really got to scream your name out, you know, and you've really got to, you know, be seen, have the SoundCloud, have the fans, have the followers, have something fresh, you know, make a noise, make a racket, not literally, but, you know, you've got to be heard, you know, to really cut through now, because everybody can do it, you see, so, and that's why, you know, being an organisation like Echo Factory, getting those skills, because take it from someone like me, when you're moving through countries and you're touring and you're going at a fast pace like I've done for the last 5-6 years of One Direction, you don't have time to hone your skills anymore, because you're rolling on the road all the time. So the more you can learn earlier on, you know, the more you can get in there earlier on, the more prepared you're probably going to be. Yeah, and that's not to say you never stop learning. Of course, music is, you're always going to be learning. Yeah. But when you got busy and you're having a job and you're working, you know, that time that you have to absorb as much as, you know, is taken down. So really get on top of your game as soon as you can, really, you know. Start today, people. I'm really looking forward to being here. So
I'm excited for you as well.
Thanks, Tamara.